Greetings. This is the Timeshare Traveler, episode 35, using Airbnb in addition to your timeshare. In my opinion, I have quite a bit of timeshares, and Airbnbs are an excellent supplement to my timeshares. Now, I know some people would say that timeshares are a good supplement to Airbnb, and it's all a matter of what your preferences are. But I've got an example here where I booked an Airbnb in Phoenix for a month in the winter, which is the peak season in Phoenix. And so I used Airbnb. I basically saved my points for my travel to Hawaii. So to me, it worked really good, and I'll go into a few details, but that's what I've done so far. Before I go into the additional details, let me first tell you a little bit about my channel, then I'll drive into the details right after that.
Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm your Timeshare Traveler. The goal of my YouTube channel is improving your timeshare travels. I'll do this through timeshare video reviews, tips for using timeshares, and much, much more. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, Twitter at Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com. And if you like my videos, don't forget to click subscribe below. The Timeshare Traveler stays at an Airbnb, so I happened to rent for a month. I rented one in Phoenix area, and it's got a nice full stove, a double sink, so many of the same amenities that you get with a timeshare. Nice table, nicely decorated, even has a phonograph for those of you that know what that is. And then it's got a bathroom here, standard toilet, and a combination shower and tub. And then backing out slowly, you go into the bedroom, and it has a full king-size bed, a nice dresser, and a TV in the bedroom. Plus, there's some storage. So sometimes an extra pillow is in there as well. So sometimes when I don't stay at a timeshare, I will stay at an Airbnb for a break or just a change. This is a really nice, compact, small one-bedroom unit, but not much different than the size of many of the one-bedroom timeshares that I've stayed in.
Okay, I'm back. So a little trade-offs with the Airbnb over a timeshare. With an Airbnb, it depends on the location. I think some owners are more available, but you don't really have the always available staff for things like you might need fixed, or you need to get additional trash bags or whatever. Sometimes that's an Airbnb, it's a little different. Usually less amenities, like usually there's not a large pool or jacuzzis. On the flip side, you typically don't have to share those kind of things. The place I'm staying has a laundry, so there's no issue there. Airbnb in general is much more widely available, so if it's like you just got to do it almost anywhere, you can get an Airbnb. So I think that's a big plus. The quality, again, is up and down depending on what you do, but you can check it out in advance. Although some of the photos for some friends of mine, they're not always what they show to be, but maybe that's somewhat true for timeshares too. But one of the things I'm actually really excited about Airbnb. I'm not negative. I'm not negative really about much of any travel I can do. But there's some really unique opportunities. My biggest bucket list is I want to stay in a coffee plantation on the Big Island of Hawaii. There's a one-bedroom Airbnb right on the plantation, and I just got to do that. And maybe it's a little quirky of me, but that's what's so great about Airbnb is you can have kind of your unique thing that you're looking for. There's even like tree houses. It's really not a tree house like a kid, but houses that you can stay that are sort of in a tree or in a jungly area, and can be nice and remote, can be really beautiful places to stay. So to me, there's no like one or the other. It's a matter of what are you looking for, and what are the trade-offs. And again, I hope you enjoy the video of the room. It is comparable to many of the timeshares I've stayed in. Okay, now let's talk briefly about the cost. So one of the things I like about Airbnb is if you're staying for a month, you actually get a discount on the room. In my case, I think it was like 30% discount. So basically, I stayed a month kind of at the same price as doing last minute specials in timeshares, but I had to book it well in advance. In other words, the flip side on the Airbnb is last minute specials is how you get the cheapest rate for timeshares, but in an Airbnb, you have to book it. I booked it in a year in advance, and so that's sort of the downside. If you want to pick your place, you have to book it well in advance. The same thing was issue with that. I mentioned a bucket list item of staying in a Airbnb on a coffee plantation, and that needed to be booked pretty much a year in advance. So that's kind of the trade-off, but the beauty of the costs. So that's just the way Airbnb works much better. So let me just go in the next segment, and let me just go briefly through what I paid in Phoenix. Okay, so now that, you've seen the video of the room. So in Phoenix, I managed to stay for 31 nights, and normally it's $58 a night, but I got a 36% discount. So it really was $1,300 a month, which, for a one bedroom in many cities, that's hard to actually rent if you were renting it long term for that amount. So I feel very fortunate. It's close to the freeway. It's not necessarily a place I would go for a walk in the middle of the night, but it's perfectly safe and fenced in for me. So that was kind of the cost. It's pretty reasonable. And again, you couldn't possibly do that for a month in a timeshare, even at a low peak. The only way you possibly could do it is off peak in last minute specials through RCI or Interval International. You could get pretty close to that, about $400, a little under, sometimes between $300 and $400. So you might be able to get it for close to $1,300, maybe $1,400 with a timeshare. So a very economical way to stay, and I'm having a wonderful time, and it's a great addition to my use of my timeshares. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you did.